Welcome, weary traveler, to the most unnecessarily long bedtime lecture you never asked for, but somehow clicked on anyway. Tonight, we are going to talk about the 9 realms of Norse mythology. Slowly, painfully, slowly. The kind of slow that makes you wonder if time itself has stopped, or if you've just accidentally tuned in to the world's most boring history podcast. Boring doesn't mean uninteresting. No. Boring means we'll explain every detail, every tangent, every by the way. Side note, until you're lulled into that sweet, drowsy state where you're not sure if you're learning about cosmic trees or just dreaming about IKEA furniture. So what are the 9 realms? Imagine the universe as a giant, mystical filing cabinet. Each drawer is a realm, neatly labeled: Asgard, Midgard, Jotunheim, Vanaheim, Alfheim, Svartalfheim, Nidavellir, Muspelheim, Nidavellir, and Helheim. Yes, that's technically 10 names, but don't worry, the dwarves got a merger deal, so we'll count them as one. Even mythology has budget cuts. These realms are all connected by the world tree Yggdrasil, which is basically the Norse version of Wi-Fi. Everything plugs into it, everything depends on it, and sometimes it lags when giants start chewing on the roots. The 9 realms are not just places, they're stories. They're the backdrop for gods throwing tantrums, giants plotting revenge, dwarves forging magical hammers, and humans trying to survive without accidentally angering Thor. Each realm has its own vibe. Some are fiery, some are icy, some are full of elves with cheekbones sharp enough to cut glass. And tonight, we're going to wander through all of them, slowly, humorously, and with enough tangents to make you wonder if I am secretly trying to bore you into sleep. Spoiler, I am. So buckle up, grab your blanket, and prepare to be gently overwhelmed by Norse cosmology. By the time we're done, you'll know more about the 9 realms than Odin's ravens, and you'll probably be asleep halfway through Chapter 3, which, honestly, is the goal. If you enjoyed this unnecessarily long ramble, don't forget to like, subscribe, and let me know in the comments where you're watching from. Bonus points if you're listening from Midgard, because statistically speaking, that's most of you. Now that we've introduced the 9 realms, it's time to talk about the thing that holds them all together: Yggdrasil, the world tree. And let me warn you, this is not your average backyard oak tree. This is the cosmic Wi-Fi router of Norse mythology, the mystical backbone of the universe, the tree that makes all other trees look like houseplants. Yggdrasil is enormous. Its roots stretch into the deepest realms, its branches reach into the heavens, and its trunk holds everything in between. If you've ever seen a family tree diagram, imagine one so big it includes gods, giants, elves, dwarves, humans, and even a squirrel that won't stop gossiping. Yes, there's a squirrel. We'll get to him. The tree has 3 great roots, each leading to something important. One root reaches into Asgard, where the gods hang out and occasionally argue about who gets the best seat in Valhalla. Another route stretches into Jotunheim, the land of the giants, who probably spend their time wondering why a tree root keeps poking into their backyard. The third root dives into Nidavellir, the icy realm of mist, where the dragon Nidhogg gnaws on it like it's the world's longest breadstick. And yes, that's right, the world tree is constantly being chewed on by a dragon. Imagine trying to hold the universe together while someone bites your ankles every day. Truly heroic. But Yggdrasil isn't just roots and branches. It's alive with creatures. Ratatoskr, the squirrel, runs up and down the trunk, carrying insults between the eagle at the top and Nidhogg at the bottom. He's basically the world's first internet troll. Deer wander its branches, nibbling on leaves. An eagle sits at the crown, glaring majestically, probably judging everyone below. The tree is also watered daily by the Norns, 3 mysterious women who weave the threads of fate. They pour sacred water over Yggdrasil to keep it alive, which is basically cosmic plant care. Imagine being responsible for watering the universe. Forget forgetting to water your houseplants. This is high-stakes gardening. Yggdrasil is not just a tree. It's a symbol of connection. Every realm, every creature, every story is tied to it. Without Yggdrasil, the 9 realms would just float around like cosmic balloons, bumping into each other awkwardly. With Yggdrasil, they're part of a grand design, messy, chaotic, but somehow balanced. So when you picture the 9 realms, don't imagine them as separate planets. Imagine them as neighborhoods hanging off the branches of one gigantic, slightly stressed out tree. And remember, somewhere in that tree, a squirrel is still running up and down, spreading gossip like it's his full-time job. Now that we've met Yggdrasil, the cosmic tree that holds everything together, it's time to ask the big question: where did the 9 realms come from in the first place? And the answer, as always in mythology, is chaos, ice, fire, and a giant who probably needed better anger management classes. In the beginning, there was nothing, just a yawning void called Ginnungagap. Imagine the world's most boring waiting room. No magazines, no internet, just endless emptiness. On one side of this void was Nidavellir, the land of ice and mist. On the other side was Muspelheim, the land of fire and heat. And when ice met fire, something strange happened. Creation. The melting ice dripped into the void, and from it emerged Ymir, the first giant. He was enormous, sweaty, and frankly, a little gross. As he slept, more beings formed from his body: frost giants, cows, and eventually the building blocks of the cosmos. Yes, a cosmic cow named Authumla showed up, licking salty ice blocks, until a god named Buri appeared. If you're wondering how licking ice produces gods, don't worry, so were the Vikings. From Buri came more gods, including Odin, who looked at Ymir and thought, this guy would make excellent building materials. So Odin and his brothers killed Ymir, brutal but efficient, and used his body to construct the universe. His flesh became the earth, his blood became the seas, his bones became mountains, his skull became the sky, and his eyebrows became Midgard, the realm of humans. Yes, humanity lives inside a giant's eyebrows, cozy. From this rather gruesome DIY project, the 9 realms were born. Each realm found its place along Yggdrasil, Asgard, high above, Midgard in the middle, Helheim below, and all the others tucked neatly into branches and roots. The balance of fire and ice, chaos and order, gods and giants, all of it began with a void, a sweaty giant, and a cow with a taste for salty ice. Truly, the most epic origin story ever told at bedtime. Now that we've trudged through the sweaty giant origins and the cosmic cow-licking ice blocks, it's time to talk about something very important: balance. Because the Norse cosmos isn't just a jumble of realms dangling off a tree. It's a carefully balanced system where fire, ice, gods, giants, humans, elves, and even squirrels all play their part. Think of it like a cosmic seesaw. On one side, you've got order, Asgard with its shiny halls, Midgard with its hardworking humans, Vanaheim with its peaceful fertility gods. On the other side, you've got chaos. Jotunheim with its grumpy giants, Muspelheim with its fire demons, Nidavellir with its icy gloom. And in the middle, holding it all together, is Yggdrasil, the tree that's basically saying, please stop fighting. I'm just trying to keep the universe from collapsing. The Norse believed that this balance was fragile. Too much fire and everything burns. Too much ice and everything freezes. Too much godly pride and you get Ragnarok. Too much giant mischief and you also get Ragnarok. Basically, everything leads to Ragnarok if you push too hard. But here's the funny part. The cosmos is designed to wobble. It's not a perfect balance. It's more like a toddler trying to carry a tray of drinks. Things spill, things clash, but somehow it keeps moving forward. The gods need the giants to challenge them. The humans need the gods to protect them. The dwarves need the gods to buy their magical hammers. Even Ratatoskr, the squirrel, needs Nidhogg the dragon to insult. Otherwise, he'd be out of a job. This balance is also moral. Valor is rewarded with feasting in Valhalla. Cowardice, or ordinary death, leads to Helheim. Fertility and prosperity come from the Vanir, while destruction and chaos come from Muspelheim. It's like a cosmic buffet where you don't get to choose your plate. The universe serves you what you've earned. And yet, despite all this careful balancing, the Norse knew the scales would eventually tip. Ragnarok was inevitable. The balance wasn't permanent. It was temporary, like a candle flickering in the wind. But that's what made it meaningful. Life was precious because it was fragile. Order mattered because chaos was always waiting. So the 9 realms weren't just geography, they were philosophy. They were a reminder that everything, gods, giants, humans, cows, squirrels, exists in tension, and that tension is what keeps the world alive. At last, we arrive at Asgard, the realm everyone thinks of first when they hear Norse mythology. It's the VIP section of the 9 realms, the gated community in the sky where the Aesir gods live, argue, feast, and occasionally throw lightning bolts at each other. Asgard sits high above Midgard, connected by the shimmering rainbow bridge called Bifrost. Imagine the world's most impractical highway, beautiful, colorful, but constantly under threat of being trampled by giants or melted by fire demons. Heimdall, the ever-watchful guardian, stands at the bridge like the universe's strictest security guard. He can hear grass grow, see for miles, and probably knows when you've been sneaking snacks after midnight. Inside Asgard, the gods live in magnificent halls. Odin, the All-Father, presides from his throne in Hildskjalf, gazing across the 9 realms with his one eye, the other he traded for wisdom. Talk about commitment to lifelong learning. Thor, his son, spends most of his time smashing giants with his hammer, Mjolnir, and occasionally smashing furniture when he forgets to aim. Frigg, Odin's wife, is the queen of foresight and wisdom, probably the only one keeping the divine household from collapsing. Asgard is also home to Valhalla, Odin's great hall, where fallen warriors feast forever. Picture an eternal banquet, endless mead, endless roast boar, and endless morning sparring matches where everyone dies gloriously, only to be resurrected by lunchtime. It's like a very violent brunch club. But Asgard isn't all feasting and fighting. It's also politics. The gods debate, scheme, and occasionally get tricked by Loki, the resident mischief maker. Loki is technically part of the Aesir, but he's also the guy who shows up to family dinners with chaos tucked under his arm. One day he's helping the gods, the next day he's causing Ragnarok. truly the definition of frenemy. Asgard represents order, power, and divine authority. It's the shining realm, the place mortals dream of, the realm that anchors the cosmos. Yet, it's also fragile, because even gods can't escape fate. The halls may be golden, but cracks run through them, and the shadow of Ragnarok looms ever closer. Still, for now, Asgard is glorious. It's the realm of heroes, the palace of gods, the cosmic penthouse suite. And if you're lucky enough to be invited, remember, bring your own mead horn, and don't challenge Thor to arm wrestling. If Asgard is the divine gated community, then its golden halls are the mansions that make everyone else jealous. These halls aren't just buildings. They're symbols of power, prestige, and the gods' ability to hire the best cosmic interior decorators. The most famous of these halls is, of course, Valhalla. Odin's Great Hall is so enormous it makes modern stadiums look like broom closets. Its roof is said to be made of shields, its rafters of spears, and its benches filled with warriors who spend eternity feasting, drinking mead, and occasionally stabbing each other for fun. Imagine the world's rowdiest sports bar, but with infinite resurrection. Then there's Bilskorner, Thor's Hall. It boasts a staggering 540 rooms. That's right, 540. One wonders how Thor keeps track of them all. Does he have a cosmic GPS? Or does he just wander around yelling, Mjolnir, where did I leave you? Until the hammer flies back to him. Other halls include Gladsheim, Odin's council hall, where the gods gather to debate important matters, like, should we let Loki babysit? Spoiler, the answer is always no. There's also Folkvanger, Freya's hall, where half of the slain warriors go to feast with her. It's like Valhalla's sister hall, but with more elegance and fewer morning brawls. Each hall has its own vibe. Valhalla, rowdy warrior banquet. Bilskorner, Thor's oversized bachelor pad. Gladsheim, divine boardroom. Folkvanger, classy warrior lounge. Together, they make Asgard feel like a city of endless grandeur, where every building is a palace, and every palace has a story. The halls shine with gold, echo with laughter, and occasionally shake when Thor stomps around. But beneath the glitter, the halls remind us of something deeper. The gods are not just warriors, they are hosts. They welcome the fallen. They gather in council. They feast in joy. The golden halls are not only places of power, but places of community, divine neighborhoods where immortals live, argue, and celebrate. Welcome to Midgard, the realm you already know very well because you're living in it. Yes, congratulations, you are currently inside Norse mythology. Don't worry, you don't need a passport. You're already a citizen. Midgard is the middle realm, the cosmic suburb sandwiched between the divine penthouse of Asgard and the shadowy basement of Helheim. It's the place where humans farm, fight, complain about the weather, and invent things like socks. In Norse cosmology, Midgard is surrounded by a vast ocean, and in that ocean lurks Jarmungandr, the world serpent. He's so big, he encircles the entire realm, biting his own tail like the ultimate hula hoop champion. Life in Midgard is, well, ordinary. Unlike the gods, humans don't get golden halls or infinite feasts. We get chores, taxes, and the occasional Viking raid. But Midgard is important because it's the center of the 9 realms. It's the hub, the place where all the drama spills over. Giants attack Midgard. Gods visit Midgard. Serpents threaten Midgard. It's like the cosmic middle child who gets all the attention, whether it wants it or not. The gods care deeply about Midgard, though sometimes in questionable ways. Thor spends half his time smashing giants to protect humans, which is great, except he occasionally smashes the landscape too. Odin occasionally drops by to stir up wars, because apparently humans need character development. Loki, of course, visits just to cause trouble, because what's the point of being a trickster if you don't prank mortals now and then? Midgard is also connected to Asgard by the Rainbow Bridge, Bifrost. Imagine living in a world where your upstairs neighbors are gods, and they can drop in any time via a glowing rainbow highway. It's like having the world's most dramatic relatives who insist on showing up unannounced. But here's the thing. Midgard may not have golden halls or eternal banquets, but it has something the gods envy: mortality. Humans live short lives, but that makes every moment precious. The gods may feast forever, but humans savor the fleeting beauty of life. In Norse thought, that fragility is what gives Midgard its meaning. So yes, Midgard is ordinary. It's muddy, messy, full of chores and wars. But it's also the heart of the 9 realms, the place where stories begin, where heroes rise, and where legends are born. And right now, you're part of it, which means you're already in the saga, whether you like it or not. So far, we've established that Midgard is the cosmic middle child, ordinary, muddy, full of chores, but somehow the center of attention. But how does this humble human realm connect to all the other realms dangling off Yggdrasil like ornaments on a very stressed out Christmas tree? The answer: bridges, routes, rivers, and occasionally divine shortcuts. The most famous connection is, of course, the Bifrost, the Rainbow Bridge. This shimmering highway links Midgard to Asgard, allowing gods to pop down for visits. Imagine living in a quiet village and suddenly Thor shows up via Rainbow Road, hammer in hand, asking if you've seen any giants lately. It's like having celebrity neighbors who insist on dropping by unannounced. But Midgard isn't just connected to Asgard. It's tied to everything, to Jotunheim, through wild mountain passes and stormy seas. Giants occasionally wander in, usually to cause trouble or borrow sugar in the most destructive way possible. To Vanaheim, through fertile lands and rivers. The Vanir gods sometimes visit, bringing prosperity, fertility, and probably unsolicited gardening advice. To Alfheim, through shimmering forests. Light elves occasionally appear, dazzling humans with their cheekbones and leaving behind mysterious gifts. To Svartalfheim Nidavellir, through caves and tunnels. Dwarves sometimes emerge, offering magical weapons in exchange for payment, preferably not in goats. To Muspelheim and Nidavellir, through the edges of the cosmos. Fire and ice press against Midgard, reminding humans that chaos is always nearby. And finally, to Helheim, through the inevitable path of death. No rainbow bridges here, just the quiet journey every mortal eventually takes. In Norse thought, Midgard is like the central station of the universe. Trains, or rainbow bridges, or giant serpents are constantly arriving and departing. Gods, giants, elves, dwarves, and even squirrels use Midgard as a crossroads. Humans may think they're living ordinary lives, but in reality, their realm is the busiest intersection in the 9 realms. This constant connection also explains why humans are always caught in the middle of cosmic drama. When gods fight giants, humans get earthquakes. When dwarves forge weapons, humans get wars. When Loki gets bored, humans get chaos. Midgard is basically the stage where everyone else's problems spill over. And yet, that's what makes Midgard special. It's not isolated. It's woven into the fabric of the cosmos. Every realm touches it, every story passes through it, and every legend finds its way back to it. Midgard is the hub, the heart, the cosmic roundabout, where everyone forgets to use their turn signals. After wandering through Asgard's golden halls and Midgard's muddy shores, we now arrive at Vanaheim, the realm of the Vanir gods. If Asgard is the flashy warrior penthouse, then Vanaheim is the cozy countryside retreat, lush, green, fertile, and full of gods who prefer farming, prosperity, and peace over endless battles. The Vanir are often described as the other gods, distinct from the Aesir of Asgard, where the Aesir are all about war, power, and lightning bolts. The Vanir are about fertility, wealth, and harmony with nature. Think of them as the chill cousins who show up to family reunions with baskets of fruit and say things like, "Have you tried meditating under a tree?" The most famous Vanir gods include Gerd, god of the sea, wealth, and fishing rights. He's basically the Norse version of a coastal retiree who insists on telling you about the tides. Freyr, god of fertility, prosperity, and sunshine. He's the one you'd want to invite to your harvest festival because he brings good crops and good vibes. Freya, goddess of love, beauty, and magic. She's glamorous, powerful, and occasionally terrifying. Half of the slain warriors go to her hall, Folkvanger, which is basically Valhalla's more elegant sister venue. Vanaheim itself is described as fertile and peaceful, a realm of green fields, rivers, and abundance. If Asgard is the realm of warriors, Vanaheim is the realm of gardeners, poets, and people who know how to make really good bread, but don't let the peaceful vibe fool you. The Vanir are powerful, and when the Aesir once tried to fight them, the war ended in a stalemate. That's how strong they are. They can hold their own against Odin's crew. Eventually, the two sides made peace, exchanged hostages. Loki probably made awkward jokes during the ceremony and decided to share power. So Vanaheim isn't just a realm of fertility. It's a reminder that not all strength comes from swords and hammers. Sometimes it comes from patience, prosperity, and knowing when to plant your carrots. So far, we've met the flashy warriors of Asgard and the chill gardeners of Vanaheim. But here's the thing. These two divine families didn't always get along. In fact, they once fought a war so confusing that even the gods themselves probably forgot what they were fighting about halfway through. The Aesir-Vanir War began when the Aesir, led by Odin, decided they didn't trust the Vanir's magic and fertility powers. The Vanir, in turn, didn't appreciate the Aesir's arrogance and thunder-smashing attitude. Words were exchanged, spears were thrown, and suddenly you had gods fighting gods, which is basically the divine version of a family food fight. The war dragged on, with neither side able to claim victory. The Aesir had brute force, but the Vanir had cunning and magic. It was like watching a wrestling match between a bodybuilder and a chess grandmaster, endlessly entertaining, but ultimately inconclusive. Finally, both sides realized they were wasting their time. So they decided to make peace. Now we leave behind the golden halls of Asgard and the fertile fields of Vanaheim, and we step into something far less cozy, Jotunheim, the land of the giants. If Asgard is the penthouse and Vanaheim is the countryside villa, then Jotunheim is the rugged wilderness, cold, mountainous, and full of neighbors who throw boulders instead of borrowing sugar. The giants of Jotunheim, called Jotnar, are not all the same. Some are terrifying frost giants, towering and icy, with tempers colder than their homeland. Others are wise, mysterious, and occasionally helpful. And some are just plain weird. Norse mythology has giants who can shapeshift, giants who marry gods, and giants who probably spend way too much time inventing new ways to annoy Thor. Jotunheim itself is described as a harsh, rocky land full of forests, mountains, and icy rivers. It's the kind of place where you'd never want to build a summer cabin, unless you enjoy waking up to a giant knocking on your door, asking if you've seen his missing boulder. Thor spends most of his weekends here, smashing giants with his hammer, Mjolnir. It's practically his hobby. If Thor had a calendar, every Saturday would just say, "Smash giants." The giants, of course, don't appreciate this, but they keep coming back for more, which makes you wonder if they secretly enjoy the attention. But here's the twist. The giants aren't just villains. They're part of the cosmic balance. Without giants, the gods would have no one to fight, no one to challenge them, no one to keep the universe wobbling between order and chaos. In fact, many gods are descended from giants, and some even marry them. Loki himself has giant blood, which explains why he's so good at causing trouble. So Jotunheim isn't just the realm of enemies. It's the realm of challengers, rivals, and occasional in-laws. It's the place that keeps Asgard on its toes, reminding the gods that even golden halls can be shaken by a well-thrown boulder. Now we drift into one of the most elegant corners of the Norse cosmos, Alfheim, the realm of the light elves. If Jotunheim is rocky wilderness and Midgard is muddy chores, Alfheim is basically the fantasy postcard realm. Glowing forests, sparkling rivers, and beings so radiant they make humans look like they've been living under fluorescent office lights for too long. The light elves are described as beautiful, graceful, and almost ethereal. They're the kind of beings who probably never have bad hair days, whose cheekbones could slice bread, and who always seem to know the latest cosmic fashion trends. If Asgard is the realm of warriors, Alfheim is the realm of artists, dreamers, and people who sparkle without trying. Alfheim is ruled by Frey, one of the Vanir gods, who was given the realm as a gift. Imagine being handed an entire glowing kingdom as a present. Happy birthday, here's a whole realm of elves. Don't forget to water the forests. The elves themselves are often associated with magic, fertility, and light. They're not warriors, like the Aesir, nor chaotic boulder throwers, like the giants. Instead, they embody beauty, inspiration, and the kind of mysterious wisdom that makes you wonder if they know secrets about the universe that they're just too polite to share. Alfheim is also a reminder of balance. While Muspelheim burns and Nidavellir freezes, Alfheim glows. It's the gentle light in the cosmic mix, the realm that whispers instead of shouts, that dazzles instead of destroys. And though humans rarely interact directly with the elves, their presence is felt. In Norse thought, elves could influence crops, health, and even dreams. Which means if you ever had a really good harvest or a strangely vivid dream, you might just have Alfheim to thank. So Alfheim isn't just a pretty realm, it's the cosmic spark of inspiration, the place where light itself becomes a way of life, and where elves glide gracefully through forests while humans stumble around trying not to trip over tree roots. We've already wandered through Jotunheim, the rocky wilderness where giants throw boulders instead of hosting tea parties. But now it has time to ask, what exactly is the role of giants in Norse mythology? Are they just villains? Are they cosmic troublemakers? Or are they secretly the universe's most misunderstood family members? The answer is all of the above. Giants, or Jotnar, are complicated. They're not just big, scary monsters. They're essential to the Norse cosmos. Without giants, the gods would have no one to fight, no one to challenge, and frankly, no one to keep them humble. Let's break down their roles. Slowly, of course. Cosmic builders. Remember Ymir, the giant whose body was used to build the universe. That's right. The very ground you walk on is giant flesh. The mountains are giant bones, and the sky is giant skull. Giants, literally, are the world. Without them, there would be no 9 realms, challengers of the gods. Giants constantly test the gods. Thor spends half his life smashing them. Odin bargains with them for wisdom. And Loki, well, Loki is technically part giant himself, which explains why he's always stirring the pot. Giants keep the gods busy, like cosmic personal trainers who specialize in chaos. Sources of wisdom. Not all giants are enemies. Some are wise and prophetic. Odin often seeks knowledge from giants, proving that even the Allfather needs to ask for directions sometimes. Family ties. Giants aren't just outsiders, they're in-laws. Many gods have giant blood, and some even marry giants. It's like the divine family tree has a branch labeled giant relatives who show up at weddings and eat all the cake. Agents of chaos. Giants embody the wild, untamed forces of nature. Storms, mountains, ice, fire. They remind the gods and humans that the universe isn't just order and golden halls. It's also unpredictable, dangerous, and occasionally hilarious. In short, giants are the cosmic balance keepers. They're the necessary opposition, the rivals who make the gods stronger, the chaotic cousins who keep the family reunions interesting. Without giants, Norse mythology would be a very dull story of gods sitting in golden halls, sipping mead, and politely agreeing with each other. The giants aren't just villains, they're part of the system. They're the chaos that makes order meaningful, the challenge that makes victory sweet, and the boulder throwers who keep the gods on their toes. Now we descend from the glowing forests of Alfheim into something much darker, deeper, and far more practical, the dwarven realms of Nidavellir and Svartalfheim. If Alfheim is the fantasy postcard, these realms are the cosmic workshop, dimly lit, smoky, and echoing with the sound of hammers clanging on anvils. The dwarves are master craftsmen, legendary for their ability to forge weapons, treasures, and magical artifacts that even the gods rely on. Without dwarves, Thor would just be a guy waving his fists around. Odin would be missing his spear, and Freyr would have no ship to brag about. In short, the gods owe their cool gear to dwarves. Nidavellir is often described as the land of the dwarves, a subterranean realm filled with forges, mines, and workshops. Picture an endless underground city where every street corner has a smithy, and every dwarf is busy hammering away at something shiny. It's not glamorous, but it's industrious. the kind of place where productivity charts would make Asgard jealous. Svartalfheim is sometimes considered the same as Nidavellir, sometimes separate, depending on which saga you read. It's the realm of the dark elves or dwarves. The Norse sources are a little fuzzy on the distinction. Either way, it's dark, mysterious, and full of beings who prefer to stay underground, away from the noisy gods and giants. Dwarves are short, sturdy, and endlessly practical. They don't waste time with feasts or battles. They build. They're the cosmic engineers, the artisans who turn raw chaos into order. They forged Mjolnir, Thor's hammer, the ultimate giant-smashing tool, Gungnir, Odin's spear, which never misses its mark, Draupnir, Odin's ring, which multiplies itself every 9 nights, because apparently Odin needed a side hustle in jewelry, Skidbladnir, Freyr's ship, which can fold up and fit in your pocket. Yes, the dwarves invented the world's first collapsible travel gear. The dwarves' role is clear. They provide the gods with the tools they need to keep the cosmos wobbling along. Without them, the 9 realms would be a lot less shiny and a lot more chaotic. Nidavellir and Svartalfheim aren't realms of light or glory. They're realms of shadows, smoke, and endless work. But there's a strange comfort in that. While gods argue and giants throw boulders, dwarves just keep hammering, forging, and inventing. They're the quiet backbone of the cosmos, the unsung heroes who make sure Thor doesn't show up to giant fights empty-handed. We've already peeked into the smoky workshops of Nidavellir and Svartalfheim, where dwarves hammer away endlessly. Now it's time to admire their greatest hits, the legendary weapons and treasures they forged, which basically turned the gods into the best-equipped superheroes of the 9 realms. The dwarves weren't just good at making shiny trinkets. They were master artisans, cosmic engineers, and the original inventors of limited edition gear. Their creations weren't just practical, they were magical, often with powers that made even Odin raise an eyebrow. Mjolnir, Thor's hammer, the crown jewel of dwarven craftsmanship. Mjolnir is short-handled thanks to Loki meddling during its forging, but still the most powerful weapon in Norse mythology. It can smash giants, level mountains, and always returns to Thor's hand like a loyal boomerang. It's basically the divine version of a multi-tool, except it only does one thing: smash. Gungnir, Odin's spear. Forged by dwarves, Gungnir is the spear that never misses. Odin uses it as both a weapon and a symbol of authority. Imagine a spear so accurate it makes modern GPS look clumsy. If Odin throws it, you can bet it's hitting its target, even if the target is hiding behind 3 mountains and a grumpy giant. Draupnir, Odin's ring. This magical gold ring produces 8 new rings every 9 nights. It's like a cosmic jewelry vending machine. Odin probably used it to fund his divine economy, or maybe just to impress guests at dinner parties. Oh, you like my ring? Don't worry, I'll have 8 more by next week. Skidbladnir, Freyr's ship. A ship that can carry all the gods, sail anywhere, and then fold up neatly to fit in your pocket. Yes, the dwarves invented collapsible travel gear long before camping catalogs did. Freyr must have been the envy of every traveler. Oh, you brought a longship. Cute. Mine folds into my backpack. Gullinburst, Freyr's boar. Not just a weapon, but a golden boar forged by dwarves. It glows so brightly it can run through the darkest night, lighting the way. Imagine showing up to battle riding a radiant pig. Practical, maybe not. Impressive, absolutely. Other treasures. The dwarves also made countless other items chains strong enough to bind Fenrir the wolf, swords that never dull, and ornaments that sparkle with divine magic. Their craftsmanship was so good that even Loki, the trickster, couldn't resist commissioning them, though he usually messed things up in the process. The legacy these weapons weren't just tools, they were symbols of divine power. They gave the gods the edge they needed against giants, chaos, and fate itself. Without dwarves, the gods would be underdressed for battle. With dwarves, they had the finest arsenal in mythology. If Nidavellir was the smoky workshop of dwarves, then Muspelheim is the cosmic furnace turned up to maximum heat. Welcome to Muspelheim, the realm of fire, chaos, and beings who think lava is a perfectly acceptable home decor choice. Muspelheim is ruled by Surtur, the fire giant with a flaming sword so bright it could probably double as a lighthouse. Surtur isn't just any giant. He's the one destined to march out at Ragnarok and set the entire cosmos ablaze. Until then, he and his fiery kin hang out in Muspelheim, practicing their dramatic entrances and keeping the thermostat permanently stuck on Volcano. The realm itself is described as a blazing land of fire, sparks, and molten rivers. Imagine living in a place where the weather forecast is always fiery doom with a chance of ash showers. No forests, no cozy villages, just endless flames licking the horizon. It's the kind of place where sunscreen is useless and marshmallows roast themselves. The fire giants of Muspelheim embodied destruction and chaos. They're not subtle. They don't sneak around or whisper insults like Ratatoskr, the squirrel. They burn things. That's their entire personality trait, and yet they're essential to the Norse cosmos. Without fire, there would be no balance against ice. Without destruction, there would be no renewal. Without Surtur, Ragnarok would just be a giant shouting match instead of the fiery finale everyone's been waiting for. Muspelheim also plays a role in creation. Remember the yawning void, Ginnungagap, when the icy rivers of Nidavellir met the fiery sparks of Muspelheim, life began. So while Muspelheim is terrifying, it's also creative. Fire destroys, but fire also gives birth. It's the cosmic paradox. The same flames that end the world once helped start it. So Muspelheim isn't just a realm of chaos. It's the fiery heartbeat of the universe, the reminder that destruction and creation are two sides of the same coin. And somewhere in that blazing land, Surtur is polishing his sword, waiting for his big moment like an actor rehearsing for the final scene. If Muspelheim is the cosmic furnace, then Surtur is the head chef. Except instead of cooking meals, he cooks entire worlds. Surtur is the mighty fire giant who rules Muspelheim, and he's famous for one thing: carrying a sword so bright and blazing it could probably double as the universe's biggest flashlight. Surtur isn't subtle. He doesn't sneak around, he doesn't whisper, and he definitely doesn't play tricks like Loki. Surtur's entire personality is burn things. He's the ultimate embodiment of destruction, the one destined to march out at Ragnarok and set the cosmos ablaze. Until then, he waits in Muspelheim, polishing his sword and practicing his dramatic entrance. The fire giants who follow him are equally dramatic. They live in Muspelheim's endless flames, their bodies glowing with heat, their footsteps leaving trails of sparks. If frost giants are the embodiment of cold, then fire giants are their fiery opposites, loud, destructive, and probably terrible at hosting dinner parties. Would you like some soup? Everything bursts into flames. Surtur's role in Norse mythology is crucial. He's not just a villain waiting in the wings. He's the finale. When Ragnarok comes, Surtur will lead the fire giants across Bifrost, shattering the rainbow bridge, and then he'll set the 9 realms on fire. It's the ultimate mic drop moment. The world ends in flames, courtesy of Surtur's sword. And yet, Surtur isn't just destruction, he's also renewal. Fire consumes, but fire also clears the way for new growth. In Norse thought, Surtur's flames don't just end the world, they prepare it for rebirth. After the fire, a new world will rise, green and fresh, ready for another cycle. Surtur is terrifying, yes, but he's also part of the cosmic balance. So Surtur and the fire giants aren't just villains lurking in Muspelheim. They're the fiery reminder that endings are also beginnings. That destruction makes way for renewal, and that sometimes the universe needs a giant with a flaming sword to hit the reset button. We've wandered through golden halls, fiery volcanoes, icy wastelands, and even glowing elf forests. Now it's time to take a quieter, slower step into Helheim, the realm of the dead. Don't worry, this isn't a horror story. Helheim is less jump scare and more eternal waiting room. Helheim is ruled by Hel, the daughter of Loki. She's half beautiful woman, half corpse, which makes her the ultimate embodiment of life and death in one being. Imagine someone who looks glamorous on one side and like a skeleton on the other. The kind of person who could attend both a royal banquet and a Halloween party without changing outfits. This realm is where souls go if they didn't die gloriously in battle. Warriors who fall heroically get scooped up by Valkyries and taken to Valhalla or Fbungur. But if you die of old age, illness, or just slipping on a patch of ice, you end up in Helheim. It's not punishment, it's just quiet. Helheim itself is described as cold, shadowy, and misty. No golden halls, no endless feasts, no rainbow bridges, just silence, rest, and the company of others who also didn't make the cut for Valhalla. It's the cosmic equivalent of the other line at the afterlife check-in desk. But don't think of Helheim as sad. It's more like a realm of endings, a place where life's noise fades, where battles stop, and where souls simply exist. In Norse thought, Helheim is part of the balance. Not everyone can be a warrior, and not every death needs a feast. Some endings are quiet, and that's okay. Hel herself is not cruel. She rules with a kind of detached fairness. Souls come, souls stay, and the realm continues. She doesn't torment them, she simply keeps them. It's less eternal suffering and more eternal waiting room with misty decor, so Helheim isn't terrifying. It's solemn, shadowy, and calm. It's the realm of rest, the reminder that not all stories end with glory. Some end with silence. And in the 9 realms, silence is just as important as song. We've wandered through each realm one by one. Golden halls, muddy human villages, fiery chaos, icy wastelands, glowing elf forests, and shadowy waiting rooms. But now it's time to step back and look at the big picture. How do all these realms actually connect? The answer, of course, is the world tree, Yggdrasil. Think of Yggdrasil as the universe's ultimate networking system. Forget internet, forget subway maps. This tree is the cosmic hub, the grand connector, the mystical backbone that ties everything together. The branches and roots Asgard sits high among the branches, shining like a penthouse suite. Midgard hangs in the middle, the human realm balanced like a treehouse that occasionally gets shaken by storms. Jotunheim stretches out on one side, rocky and wild, like the neighbor who insists on throwing rocks at your fence. Vanaheim nestles in fertile branches, green and peaceful, like the garden plot of the cosmos. Alfheim glows nearby, sparkling like fairy lights strung across the branches. Nidavellir Svartalfheim burrow deep into the roots, hammering away in underground workshops. Muspelheim blazes at one edge, fiery sparks licking the tree's bark. Nidavellir chills another edge, mist and frost creeping into the roots. Helheim lies deep below, shadowy and quiet, like the basement no one visits unless they have to. The traffic system, Yggdrasil, isn't just a tree, it's busy. Creatures run up and down its trunk like commuters. Ratatoskr the squirrel carries insults between the eagle at the top and the dragon Nidhogg at the bottom. He's basically the world's first gossip courier service. Deer nibble on its leaves. Nidhogg gnaws on its roots, trying to destabilize the whole system. It's like a cosmic highway where everyone has their own lane. Gods, giants, elves, dwarves, squirrels, dragons. The balance of connection. The beauty of Yggdrasil is that it keeps everything in balance. Fire and ice, light and dark, life and death, all realms are connected. All realms depend on each other. Without Yggdrasil, the 9 realms would just float around like balloons at a very chaotic birthday party. With Yggdrasil, they're part of one grand design. And yet, the tree is fragile. It's constantly under attack, gnawed by dragons, insulted by squirrels, shaken by cosmic battles. But it endures, because the 9 realms need it. It's the glue, the backbone, the cosmic scaffolding that keeps the universe from collapsing into chaos. So when you imagine the 9 realms, don't picture them as separate planets. Picture them as neighborhoods hanging off one gigantic, slightly stressed out tree. And remember, somewhere in that tree, a squirrel is still running errands, making sure the eagle and the dragon never stop arguing. We've wandered far, haven't we? From the golden halls of Asgard to the misty silence of Helheim, from fiery Muspelheim to icy Nidavellir, from glowing elf forests to smoky dwarven forges. The 9 realms have unfolded like a cosmic storybook, each chapter showing us a different corner of the Norse universe. The gods feast in Valhalla, humans toil in Midgard, giants throw boulders in Jotunheim, elves sparkle in Alfheim, dwarves hammer in Nidavellir, and souls rest in Helheim. The saga of the 9 realms is vast, but tonight we've walked through it together, step by step, realm by realm.